are. Do you really like to have a collection of horses? And horses to you are very important spiritual people. You're not galloping horses. There's lots of horses in the townships for sure, and the equestrian business is very much still alive out here. But if horses to you are special spirit people and images for you, then don't be shy about having some or images of them. The same thing with the Buddha, the same thing with your garden or your herb garden. If you are really a green thumb person who is really involved with growing, follow your bliss with that. Mushrooms. I know some people who are crazy on mushrooms and they love drawings and pictures of mushrooms because they're very magical things to those people who really are mycologues in terms of being specialists and knowledgeable about them. Denis Boulanger is a very well-known mycologue in the townships. My wife and he have conversations that I barely understand what they're saying because they're using all these marvelous fancy French, Italian, Spanish mixtures along with Latin.
Fantastic.
You know? And it's something that they both really, really love. I enjoy I made a very, very good shrimp and chanterelle and linguine dish with fresh chanterelles from the hills that my my resident mycologue brought down. But I'd rather cook than search for mushrooms, I guess. But that's a bias of ours, you know? But the idea of going back and exhibiting your personality is important. Being aware of the clutter factor is also, and editing. Old things that are still mellow and well preserved, but are not patched, or pictures hanging in the wrong spot on the wall. Why is that picture there? Well, the nail was there when we moved in a few years ago.
Yeah.
Well, let's not be fearful of putting a new nail in the wall
That's
and
right.
thinking about it as a focal point, a meditation picture for your bedroom, something at the end of the hall is interesting that you see as you're walking toward the end of the hall can be a beautiful accent, and it could say something about you. All the collection of the family memorabilia and the weddings and the all these other things, they're good in a special section, but not scattered all over.
And not in the bedroom, apparently.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd rather see just me and a friend of mine in the bedroom.
Yeah, exactly. You know, having the family and the kids and the this and the that, apparently it's not good for your intimate
Hallways are good. The second bedroom is good.
Yeah, the hallways are great.
Fabulous. You can have a whole string
Staircase
of them.
going up or down.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I had a very delicate situation. That's the psychology part of my work, where we had a spectacular picture over the mantle, but it showed how poorly the client in front of me had aged.
Oh.
And is that a terrible way of saying that?
Yeah.
But she was spectacular in the painting. But she was 35 years later, and she was not doing very well.
Oh.
And I really did a lot of work to get that portrait moved somewhere else.
Wow.
Because you kept comparing how poorly she had aged and how she was really pretty well wrinkled and tired and dry. And there was this glamorous picture of when she was 26.
Yeah.
And it was a spectacular portrait, but she was in front of it often.
Yeah.
And I thought she looked pretty good until I saw the painting. You know? And that was a very delicate situation. But in terms of an image of her, I would have rather seen her recently painted, because she was still a very interesting and very vigorous person in her late 70s.
That was a good idea.
But that painting was dramatic. We ended up finding something else completely different that solved the problem of a focal point over the fireplace.
Okay.
But it wasn't her.
Good.
And we moved her to the back bedroom where you could see how spectacular it was, and we picked a color for the bedroom that went with the gown and the painting,
Nice.
the beautiful robe. But again, it's a question of keeping images current and not looking too tired and not being afraid of saying, okay, now we're going to change this room. What's going to make us worried about changing this room? And the more we plan it, the less worried we will be. So make a floor plan, draw it to scale, use all your colors and elements. You're stuck with the sofa, so use that fabric. Carry a piece of that fabric, even if you've cut 1 square inch from the hem, when you're shopping, so you can see the color match.
That's right.
So that you have a consistent vision, and then the room will look good, and you will feel less worried about the stress of the change.
That's right.
because change is certainly an important factor.
So you think that people attach themselves to their clutter because they're afraid of change, they're afraid of how they'll be
Well, it
perceived.
has good memories.
Yeah.
But
And procrastinating, cleaning it all up. You know, with
yes,
that
spritzing the crystal chandelier so it's really sparkly and not cloudy.
and
All right?
yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
And that's a bit of feng shui again in terms of the energy of the space. You want to have, you've walked into houses and there's something about the house that doesn't feel comfortable. You would never buy it even if they gave it to you.
Sure.
And you're looking around for a house or a condo or something and you say, this place feels good. Why?
Yeah.
Part of it can be aroma. As we were all talking about lavender, what lavender is such a marvelous smell.
Sure.
And stress reduction
Absolutely.
smell, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it's very funny when we think about this because lavender and lemon are opposites on the color wheel. And one of them, the lemon, is much more for waking up and being perky. And lavender is much more about being meditative and being calming and moody. And they're opposite colors as well.
That's right.
Isn't that interesting in terms of your business of alternatives and thinking about changing the space, changing the lighting, changing the colors, the cheapest probably, changing the curtains, or changing the paint on the walls to make the curtains look better. You're stuck with the curtains. You're not stuck with paint.
Let me tell our listeners they're listening to CIDI 99.1 FM. This is the alternatives. You have choices. We're talking about decorating your home with Aurélien Guillory. I'm your host, Ilia Kavoukas. Aurélien, do you have a website you'd like to share with our listeners?
It's www.colorsbyaurelian.com, and that's COLORSBYAURELIEN.com. There's no accent U in the computer business. It messes them
Okay,
up.
that's right. And you have an office in Montreal.
And out here in the
And you're
townships.
working to build your clientele here in the townships as well. On our website at sunshinecenter.ca, I list all the previous shows. So give us a couple of weeks and we'll have it put on the website so you can
That'll
hear
be
the
lovely.
show over again.
I have to do that with my stuff too.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Good idea.
And I just have one more question for you, Aurélien. What is it with people that just keep buying and buying and buying and I know that's part of the clutter thing. But,
It is,
you know,
and
they keep-
it's a difficult situation because they get the rush of feeling they've got something new, it's possession, and they love it, but they're not thinking about it too often in context. And sometimes I think that if we can transfer that feeling of I've possessed something new, it's beautiful, I love it, it's interesting, and rethink about it, how does it relate to everything else, and where is it going to feel at home in their room or their apartment or their house, that new thing sometimes could be sublimated to say, let's take the old things and re-image them and rethink about how they could look. I have a collection of wine labels. One of these years, I'm going to put them into a paravent and make a beautiful screen of
Oh,
wine labels.
Beautiful.
I'm saving it. But one of these days we'll do it. I'll keep it posted.
That sounds like a great project for a cloudy, rainy
Well, at
afternoon.
least I'm not having them pinned up all over the wall. I'm having it in a folder.
That's right.
Until
so
the
you
time
could
fit.
view them occasionally.
Yeah, yes.
Well, thank you so much, Aurélien, for
It's been a
coming
pleasure.
and talking about how decorating your home and your space affects your health. And thank you so much, listeners, for listening to our show, The Alternatives You Have Choices. We'll see you next time.
Lovely to be here, Ilya.